And Oklahoma bounced back under Brent Venables in 2023. This was a team that was going through a transition with Lincoln Riley headed to USC, and now they have a chance to show that this era of Oklahoma football can be just as good as the previous era. Now, I really like Oklahoma's schedule this year. I think that it doesn't provide too many tough tests. Obviously, Texas is on there, so that's going to be tough. And the Big 12 does sprinkle in some tough tests as well outside of Texas. TCU obviously was very good last year and should be tough once again. Oklahoma State is a rivalry game, so that will be tough. Kansas is much better, but this is a schedule that shouldn't be anything too terrifying if you're an Oklahoma fan, especially at the beginning. Arkansas State, SMU, Tulsa, and Cincinnati shouldn't be too much of a worry for where this team should be. I think last year was just the transition year that was tough for this team for Brent Venables and his staff. But I think that they get things figured out. You look at the talent they have returning, there's no reason why they shouldn't be much better than they were in 2022. This should be a team that competes for a Big 12 championship. The other Big 12 games they face, obviously, there's the new teams in UCF and BYU. We already mentioned Cincinnati. Those are interesting games. We don't really know what those teams are going to be. So that makes for potentially interesting games, but Oklahoma, in terms of recruiting, should be much better than those three teams. So there's not a ton of games that worry me too much. They're all winnable games for Oklahoma. Now, they're going to be tough. There's games that, facing Texas and Oklahoma State are rivalry games that will always be difficult. And that's going to be interesting. I mean, you look at the Texas game last year, that's going to be tough. But for the season to end the way it did, very disappointing if you're Brent Venables. But again, I think that they're going to be much better because Venables will have what he wants in place. Guys are more familiar with his system, more familiar with the offense than Jeff Lebby. And you have a lot of talent returning on both sides of the ball that can make that happen. So last year wasn't super surprising. It was a little bit of a surprise, but I think they're going to be much better in 2023. The schedule allows them to do that, and if they're going to be bringing in the talent that they are, Brent Venables is either going to get better or he's going to get fired in a couple years anyways. So the schedule doesn't scare me. This isn't worrisome. If you're a Sooners fan, I think that you should be really excited if you're an Oklahoma fan because of what this team is capable of doing. The schedule presents plenty of opportunities for big time wins. There's a couple tough road games, the neutral game against Texas we keep bringing up, and Kansas and Oklahoma State stretch will be difficult as well, but I don't think that there's too many games you could look at and you'd feel confident betting against Oklahoma. Again, we mentioned that talent before, and there's plenty of talent to work with Jeff Lebby's offense. Dylan Gabriel returns at quarterback for another year in Lebby's system. He's very familiar with that scheme, with the system they're trying to run, the plays they're trying to run, and he is a veteran that can help some of these other guys get up to speed if they're not. Now you have a few positions that you need to replace. Marvin Mims is obviously gone, and the talent that they have behind him and even at the running back position is really enough to make them a really exciting team in 2023. Lebby knows how to coach an offense. He knows how to call plays, and he has his quarterback returning as well. Now, the big thing with that is Dylan Gabriel has to stay healthy because you looked at what happened last year when he went down. The offense took a major step back. That is a big concern if you are an Oklahoma fan. They also lost Nick Evers to Wisconsin, and that's going to be a huge loss for them. But you're bringing in some talent as well. So there's a trade-off there. But again, if Dylan Gabriel goes down, we have to see some development from the second and third quarterbacks there if Oklahoma wants to continue being an explosive offense. Dylan Gabriel is really fun, but if he goes down, we saw that the Sooners are very much in trouble. Javante Barnes, really fun to watch in the backfield last year. The running backs should be another solid group, and the numbers here we're seeing should be even better. Jalil Farouk is one of the more underrated players, potential superstars of 2023. I think that he is a phenomenally explosive talent, someone who's going to be one of the best wide receivers in college football, in my opinion. Andrew Anthony is another player with explosive capabilities. You're looking at someone who, when we saw him a couple years ago against Michigan State, we saw the speed, we saw the explosiveness. We just haven't seen that consistently, and that's something that he needs to work on. But he is someone that can really open up the field for Oklahoma. He can be an explosive threat And I really like this fit in Jeff Lebby's system. I think it gives him more opportunities to showcase what he can do. It gives him the ability to create in space and maybe take advantage of some teams playing zone against him. They line him up in the slot, maybe get him more favorable matchups. I think that he's an explosive player that just needs to get an opportunity to showcase what he can do, maybe in a better system that fits him with more what he is capable of doing. So that's another guy to keep an eye on there. The offense really is in good hands. There's not too much to be worried about with Jeff Lebby returning. Dylan Gabriel is back. There's not too many things that I would circle as potential issues. It's just a matter of staying healthy and being consistent. And that's a good place for this offense to be. Now, when you flip over to the defensive side of the ball, you're looking at Brent Venables coming in, that elevates the potential for the defense. The previous regime, it wasn't going to be good because it's just not a coach that in Lincoln Riley that is focused on defense. He's an offensive guy. Now, Alex Grinch came in and provided some excitement, but he just didn't live up to the hype. And now Brent Venables comes in. He's a proven coach that knows how to coach defense at the highest level. And you get a ton of talent to work with that. I really like what could be in 2023. You look at the defensive line, could be one of the better defensive lines in all of college football. Ethan Downs is a monster. Reggie Grimes and Jordan Kelly are solid in their own regards as well. This is going to be a really fun group to watch. The guys behind them are tackling machines. Danny Stutzman is the leading tackler from last year. He is back as well. And you look at Billy Bowman, there's a handful of defensive backs that I really like. They just need to take steps forward. Billy Bowman is one of those guys. I think we saw him take a step forward in 2022. We just need to see more from that group. And you're playing in a conference that showcases a lot of offensive explosiveness. So you're going to need a defense to be really good and to win a national championship, your defense needs to step up too. Now, you could be an opportunistic group. Brent Venables isn't going to settle for just opportunistic. He wants his group to be one of the best, if not the best, in college football. He wants them creating turnovers. He wants them disrupting the backfield, and he has the talent to do that. It's just a matter of putting that on the field and being able to execute with X's and O's and everything, being able to get in the right position. And I like what this group can do. I think that the fact that this defensive line should be disruptive gives them a lot more opportunities. I think it opens things up for the guys behind them, and that's huge. That's where it all starts, and that's where Brent Venables probably gets focused right away. Is if these guys can do their job, it's going to open things up behind them. Now, the guys behind them obviously have to do something, but I think you're got a good foundation there. And that's going to be huge for Oklahoma, especially when you're going into the SEC next year. This has to be a good season. There's a lot of pressure on Brent Venables to succeed, to win and win the conference again, get back on top. And if they don't do that, there could be some big time concerns heading into the SEC. But I think that Brent Venables, at worst, is getting this program ready for a more tougher and more difficult conference to compete in. And the talent they're bringing in is still the same, if not better. And it's just a matter of putting it on the field. You have an offensive coordinator that can put up points in a hurry. You have a defensive mind in Venables that is elite. The tools are all there. The foundation is laid. It's just a matter of putting everything together and building upon that foundation. So this is going to be a team that I think is going to be much better in 2023. And we're going to see what happens with the Sooners and what they're able to do in year two of Brent Venables.